Aloha, Flow Riders, and welcome to this edition of The Flow. I am your co-host, Doc Rock.
And I am the main host, Katie.
There we go. There we go. All right. Now, see, we got her to say something different than, hey, it's Katie.
I thought you liked the hey, it's Katie.
I
Maybe
do. 100%. It's the best part of the shit. Cracks me up every time. So it actually threw me off.
New season, new me. Maybe now I'm the host and you're the hi, I'm Doc.
That'd be cool. All right, we're gonna switch them up next time, Luis. I'm gonna be on the right. We have a show here, Perry and Price, and he goes, "Is Perry on the left and Price on the right?" And they never had video, so it's funny that they've always said that in radio. Now they have to do it if they decide to make video, but they're both old. Anyway, so we're gonna do something cool today. We're gonna bring on a special guest, and I'm kind of super excited. So, you want to introduce the guest host?
Oh no, now I'm in charge of introducing. Well, I am really excited because we're actually, so sneak peek behind the scenes for all of our Flow Riders. We are doing what we don't often do, and we are pre-recording this episode because when this episode drops, we are going to be at Podcast Summit, which is happening in Atlanta, Georgia. And we are talking today with David Shands, who is the mind and the voice and the enthusiasm and awesomeness and everything in between behind this event. We met David through Marshall, who is like our designer and our go-to friend, member of the fam. And it's just been a really awesome ride. Obviously, we're huge into the podcasting space. So we're really excited.
Coined the term Ecamm fam.
Marshall coined the term Ecamm fam.
Family, and Marshall was like, "No, man, we're gonna go Ecamm fam." No. I was like, "All
That's not as good, Doc. That's not as good." Well, without further ado, we are super excited to be hanging out with David today to learn all about Podcast Summit and his journey as a podcaster and everything in between. So, welcome to David. Yay!
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Hey, I need to step my my Ecamm game up because I've been using Ecamm in a very basic way, but y'all got cool stuff. You got the flow and the little boxes. This is incredible. I need a tutorial. And literally, I've been using Ecamm for probably 4 years now, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but you know, I like the smoke divider on that show because it's just kind of cool, right? It looks like you're in the same room, like it's a whole vibe. So yeah, everybody use it for what it's for. And to me, we were just talking about this sort of pre-show. That's the dope part about Ecamm. I think this is going to be cool at Podcast Summit, and I can't wait to even talk about it because I think a lot of people assume in order to do a video podcast, you got to go straight to People's Party with Talib Kweli. And that's a heavily produced podcast. But if you put yourself in that light, then you're stuck trying to stay there, which is actually relatively hard to do without any massive team. It is not just him and Angie popping up and talking to folks that come through. There's a team of probably like 20 people. So I think a lot of people need to learn to be comfortable with starting out with just the basics and having a conversation with your homie on the block or, sitting at a cafe having a conversation. If it looks like that, you can normally get more natural conversations. And I look at somebody like Tom Bellew, who when he's doing his house versions, he sat up in his kitchen with a MacBook and Yeti and a Logitech C920. Dude is a multi-billionaire. And he records podcast episodes that get 3 million hits with a Yeti, a C920, and an old Intel MacBook. And those are just as fire. So I think people oftentimes get crazy trying to jump straight into like where we're at. It's a different vibe.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's really challenging for successful people or people that have been, they're like really, really popular, or they've been in like film, like a big industry to get into podcasting. And it doesn't work for them because they're so used to doing things at such a high level and you can't maintain that. That's really, really hard to keep up with if every episode costs you $8,000, $10,000 to shoot. But that person who doesn't have any money, I'm talking about they got a cell phone and they're using their earbuds as a podcaster. Like you think about the creators who are going viral on TikTok, it's not a production, right? But there's some people that they're so popular, like, oh, I gotta come off right, and I can't even do it without my glam team, and I need my makeup done, and I gotta get a haircut. And there's people like me. When I first started, I didn't have a name for my podcast. And they're still up to this day. You'll see, I was like, hey, welcome to the show. And I'd ask the guests, I was like, hey, I don't have a name for this yet. We're going to figure it out. It's still going to be a good conversation. And they're like, and in the beginning, me and the guests are coming up with names for the show that they're on. But we just kept going. We kept going. We kept going. We kept going. We kept going. So
I love
that's
that.
why I think.
I love that. But I think
it's so easy now.
You're so great with, let's take just a step back for a second. So David is a big deal, everyone. Like he may quietly not say this, but he's got 500,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. You have a huge Instagram presence. You have a full like community of people behind you who like love what you do and show up. So I love that when you jumped on, you're like, I don't even use Ecamm for its full, like for all of its features. Because we're trying to say this to people all the time, that it's okay to close out some of the little boxes in Ecamm. It's okay not to understand what everything does within the software. Find the stuff that works really well for you to reach your audience, to get your message out there, to inspire and motivate and help people. The rest of it, like if you need it, it's there. Great. Use it, but you don't have to. And you could tell that Marshall is from your world, because Marshall is the same way. Like Marshall does a show for us on a regular basis, and he's always like, I don't know. I don't use any of that stuff in Ecamm. Like I use only these, like, you know, these few features over here, but that's what works for him. Whereas like what works for, you know, other shows is going to be a completely different set of features. And I think that's really important for people to understand, because you're right. Like you can start with no fancy overlays. You can stay with no fancy overlays. We do this only because we like it and because Marshall designs stuff for us. Like we, you know, it's a mix of that. But I think it's just really important to hear. And I love that people with like your reach and your like level of presence online are just like so, I don't know, authentically yourself, and are willing to be like, no, I like, this is where I started, and you're really real with people. And I just love that about you and about the content that you're creating, because I think it's hugely important to people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, one of the things is the hardest thing to get through, and I mention this to the crew all the time. I've watched the sort of video elements of the internet happen over the last couple of years, and one of the biggest changes that I've seen is that people are legit over the gurus. They want to see someone that they think that I might be able to make it to that level, right? Because that looks attainable. But like looking at somebody that's way, way, way at the top, right? You're like, I can never reach this person, right? I'm never going to be Oprah, but I'm going to be the good as me possible, right? And they'll do that. But if the other people, they just look at it and marvel, but they don't attempt to emulate them. And so, because they feel like they can't. So you make it almost untouchable for them. You know what I mean? And Katie, we know people who have $100,000 Viking or Wolf kitchens and can't cook. So it doesn't matter. You have all of the gear. That doesn't make your show good. It does not make your show good at all. So go ahead, Katie. You go first. I'll ask my question second.
I was just going to say, I really would love to know how you got started in the world of podcasting. I mean, now, you know, you have a really popular show. You were just talking about kind of the beginnings before it had a name. How do you go from no name, interviewing guests, like hustling, doing it, to this incredible event that people just like rave about? What was the journey from start to finish?
I mean, the journey starts before. It never stops. And let me say this. So, although it's true, we have 500,000 subscribers, and 300 something on Instagram. I want to tell everybody that's listening, those are vanity numbers. Mm-hmm. So if you think about, if a couple 100,000 people started following the channel 6 years ago, are they still super engaged with the channel? Maybe not. I still have to work just as hard as I did in the beginning. It's not like people think, oh, you got an advantage because you got a certain amount of numbers. No, I don't. Like, there are people who have a fraction of the following or fraction of the subscribers, they get more engagement and more views. It's about the quality of the content. So we have to continue to innovate. We have to continue to produce. And again, I don't have that much mental bandwidth to heavily produce stuff. I mean, with Ecamm, I click the little button to go live on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. I click them buttons and I go. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. I'm trying to put on a good show and have a great conversation. I don't got time for the bells and whistles. My producer Reese, he did something our last live where the Instagram, it looked like a little phone and it was like within the little box. I was like, ooh, that's cool. How you do that? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, we just live. He made it look cool. I don't know. So for everybody that's like, where you just have to do the work and not stop doing the work. The event how I got into podcasting, I didn't know. I was podcasting without knowing what a podcast was because I was just promoting an event that I was doing in 2018. So I was interviewing all the people that were going to speak at the event. This genius marketing strategy I came up with where I'm going to do an event and interview all the people and put it on YouTube. And if someone watches the interview with someone, they might say, hey, I want to meet this person at the event. I'll buy a ticket. That was my whole strategy. So at the end of those episodes, you'll hear me say, hey, April 4th and 5th, make sure you go get your tickets. It's coming. Because I wasn't thinking that it stays forever. And then I wasn't thinking that you can make money on YouTube. I had no idea. I'm just trying to promote an event. Long story short. I started doing interviews. People started liking them, so I kept doing the interviews, and I just never stopped doing the same work that I was doing in 2018 up until now. So that's the long and short of how I got started. I just started, and I just never stopped.
I love that.
That is amazing. Well, you kind of covered part of what my question was going to be is how'd you come up with the idea or the gumption to do Podcast Summit? And I guess it's sort of similar, right? It was the same event or was it a different event?
It was a different event, but I'm seeing that there's a gap. So this is the honest answer I came up with it. I love podcasting and I've been telling all my friends to start a podcast and people come to me like, hey, Dave, can you help me set up my podcast? I'm like, sure, no problem. And then clients want to pay me to help them with their podcast. I'm like, this is absolutely incredible. I go to a podcast conference and there are probably 1,500 people there. Mm-hmm. And probably I saw like 10 Black people. And I'm like,
true story.
I'm like, hold on. Hey, where are we at? Why aren't we represented anywhere? And I just realized that everybody has their audience. And I'm like, yo, there's none of us that are podcasting. I've got to teach people podcasting and maybe and here's the thing, my major goal, and actually while we were coming up with design, Marshall came up with the logo and all that kind of stuff. And he said, do you want to make this podcast summit for creators of color? And I said, no, I want everybody there. I just don't want I don't want Katie to come to podcast summit and be like, hold on, there's only 10 of us. I don't want you to feel that either. We want thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. So when I put it on, I just knew that people that look like me would follow me. So yes, it's probably 98% of
you hosted
African Americans there.
What were you expecting?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you're also in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But it was in Miami. But that's just my following, right? So my major objective is to collaborate with people from all over the world. And we want to put on the biggest podcasting event, period. Not Black, not white, not color, not American. I'm talking about the biggest event, period. And I just understand what they need. So 2 full days, 3 workshops going on simultaneously that teach every aspect from how to set up your camera to how to shoot a movie. Because a podcast is really just an easier movie to shoot.
Yeah.
So how do you grow on Instagram? Everything covered. So
hopefully somebody that's listening to this might be a first timer to the flow. Katie and I did an episode maybe the beginning of the year. We broke down sort of what a podcast is. And one of the challenges for me, and I am a hardcore wordsmith. I think maybe it comes from being a lyricist back in the day, but I can't stand when people just misuse words or use words because they heard somebody else use it, but they don't really know what it means. But then they just start using it. I'm like, that's kind of bad. That's like learning. Everybody in the country learns Spanish the way we learn from school, you're going to go to somewhere to speak Spanish and you only know how to swear. And then you'll get punched in the face. So don't just repeat words that you don't know what they mean. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And basically, we went from a monocast, right, which is me talking to you one-to-one, right, to a broadcast, which is me talking to everybody one-to-many, to a podcast, which is basically a single person produced cast that goes out to everybody, that somebody branded podcast. It's still a broadcast. It is 100% a broadcast. It is no different than any other broadcast.
Rebranded broadcast, yeah.
But a British journalist back in like 2011 thought that made more, I sorry, take that back. It was like 2006. Thought it might be better to use this terminology. And he came up with it trying, like you, to find the name for what we're going to call these little pirate radio type situations. And he goes, well, people are listening to all these different devices. It's kind of like a podcast. The iPod came out after, but everybody thinks because Apple does what Apple does, and they made it popular by connecting it to the iPod, right? And so that's why everybody got podcasts. And even like last week when they came up with Apple Intelligence, everybody's like, well, Apple, they just co-opted a name that's been around forever, and it's really stupid. No. Everybody is afraid of AI, and everybody is afraid of their privacy with AI. So Apple says, we're going to call it Apple Intelligence. We won't use any of your private data to make this work. Everything will happen on your phone. And if ever we need to involve somebody who could steal your data, we're going to warn you. And you still make that decision. So by renaming it, it's going to grab some of the people who are afraid of it. So it's brilliant. Yeah. It's really brilliant. And even what you're doing, making the podcast sort of event for everybody, is brilliant because we go to those events and they're still heavily not us, right? And the other thing that amazes me about those events, have you started your podcast yet? Nope, I'm still working on it. What do you mean working on it? Like, go in the corner and record one right now and come back. like literally, just do that.
There is, as someone that goes to a lot of these events, and they are great in their own way, each and every one of them. But Doc and I have been to a ton of the podcasting events. But what we do hear over and over and over again is it's still like a lack of, the kind of motivation. They don't really know how to get started. They sort of want to, but they don't really know how to. And it feels, big and expensive. And there's all these different people telling them all these different things. So what I really love about what you're doing, David, and I think what speaks really loudly, like in your marketing and on the site for the event itself, is that there is the intentionality behind it, that it's like, no, this is for people who are serious about this. And this is for people who actually want to take the next step past it. Like, these are people who are looking not just to start a podcast because they want to start a podcast. They're looking to start a podcast as part of their business in order to, to hit whatever goal. Like, I feel like you've done a really great job of forcing people to be like, no, but like, what is your intention with this? Like, if you just want to learn how to start a podcast, there's tons of resources and places and events, etc., out there for you. But, it feels like, and this will be our first year being involved with it, but it feels like your event really has this undertone of like, no, like we are adults here. We are business people. We are not doing this just for fun. We are doing this, for a purpose.
Yeah. So that's why we created the Ecamm room. So in the Ecamm room, a podcast summit, we have 20 booths, 20 podcasting booths with 2 microphones. You have the ability to, and we'll have Ecamm installed on every single one of the computers in the booths, where you can actually find someone that you're vibing with at the event and go into a room and sit down and have a podcast with them right on the spot. And you can actually stream to all your platforms right then and there. Because the biggest thing is, the reason I do that is, one, it's a benefit, right? And I think it's pretty cool, get people, actually active. But the second reason is I don't trust everybody to go home with this information and then start a podcast. Yeah. I don't trust y'all. Yeah. While we're here, you learned something. Let's go in this little room, turn on this microphone, turn on this camera, and let me show you that once you start it, nobody dies.
Yeah.
The world does not come crashing to an end when you start. In our head, we think that something is going to happen in a bad way once we turn on the camera and start talking. That's not going to happen. So let's just go in this room. You met somebody that was sitting next to you. Y'all had a good conversation. You asked them for a sheet of paper. They gave you one. And you say, hey, let's go in this room and talk about it. Let's just get going. So I appreciate Ecamm for even believing in this vision. So we literally got a whole room dedicated to you being able to go in there and let's just have a conversation. Let's do it.
I think that's so brilliant. That practical action, like do right away. I really trip out at conferences where everybody got their notebook out and everybody be writing down all of these notes. Every conference I go to, dude, send us your slide deck. I don't like slide decks, but we got to have one. Okay, cool, right. Because of my slide deck. I send them the slide deck. They're like, that's your slides? Yeah. Pictures, one word on each slide. They look at me like, oh, this could be a weird session. Dude, don't put stuff on his deck. Because I don't need you to read. Bro, I could write you a book if I want you to read. I want you to hear what I got to say and then go do it. Like, I really don't want you to sit up there reading my novel. Like, this is dumb. Everyone does it, and I got total feelings about it. And it's taken a long time to get even the event producers to get past that concept. But now, my room be crowded. My room be making a lot of noise. And they be like, dude with no deck, he loud over there. What's going on?
You need a dude with no deck t-shirt.
Slide deck, homie. Like, you need to do this stuff right away. If you don't, like, imagine all babies just watch everybody else walk and be like, yeah, I'm going to do that one day. And they just never get up. You be a whole bunch of people scooting around in their butt to this very day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think there is something to be said for just like actually getting in and seeing what it's like. Because even if people do, like I'm the people that Doc hates, where I take copious notes on everything because I have to physically write down for it to stick in my head. Like I can't type it. I have to like actually write it down. So I use a Rocketbook. I write everything down. But then if I don't go back, like if I don't skip the parties and go back to my hotel room and like actually open up the thing and get in it and use it, it's gone. It's not happening. Like I have to. So I'm the person that has to be like dragged over to the podcasting booth and space and being like, no, okay, now we're going to do this together. We might fail at it. We might look silly. We might push the wrong buttons, etc. But there are people that are there to be able to show you and help you and guide you through it. And I do think that that's important because you have people who are like introverted and shy, where it's already a big thing for them to be out at an event. You have people who are, these are all the people that Doc, close your eyes, Doc. You have people who are afraid to ask questions, right? Like who are just sitting there and they want to learn more, but they don't even know like what to ask or, how to phrase what they want to learn. And then there are people that don't even know what they don't know. And what's crazy about a lot of it's in podcasting is because it's audio and because it's video, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Like you could be watching this right now. You have no idea how we're producing it. You have no idea that Luis is sitting behind the scenes right now, probably like eating his cheeseburger, like watching to make sure everything is fine. Like you don't know what goes into it, right? So I think it's been a big mission for us at Ecamm is that like when we go out to events, it's not that we're trying to be salesy. It's not that we're trying to like push you to buy something. That's great. That's great for us. That's great for everyone. But if you don't see it, like if you don't actually experience it, like Doc can get up on the stage and talk about it, but if you don't see it, if you don't experience it, you're not even going to know what your questions are. Yep. You're not going to know what, like how it works or how it might work for you. Cause you don't know what's possible. Like you might know what you've heard or seen, but that's different than what it is to actually produce it. Sure. And I say this as someone that like forced myself to jump in. I forced myself to be like, how do I do it?
Podcast, like Katie's podcast is awesome. But at first, I would clarify, notes is one thing. It's the people that copy every slide. because
I don't do that, but
out of context, that won't make any sense to you later. But like, you should take notes if you're a note-taking person, right? Like, and I'm gonna say this to everybody because I just want people to get this word out their face. There's no such thing as an introvert. An introvert is a person that doesn't like the present company. Because every one of those people around somebody that they down with, or their homies, or their spouse, or
That's
whatever,
true.
you cannot get them to shut up. I'd look at
doesn't play well with strangers, right?
Bro,
That's me.
I feel introvert on the other side of the house. A lady, just be quiet. I can't get her to shut up. But we go somewhere with other people, and it's like, and it's just But again, people use those words as an excuse not to do the work, and I just like to take excuses from people. I am very good at that. That is my favorite thing in the world. Your maximum effective range of your excuses, 0 feet. Let's go.
Love it.
So who are some of the speakers that are at the event, David? What are some of the topics that you're most excited about?
Oh man, we got Doc Rock in the building.
Oh, I don't know. That's all that exciting.
That doesn't make you buy a ticket. We have some incredible speakers, and everybody that's there is not just motivational or just because they're a name. There are people who are practitioners. Everybody that's taking the stage is a current practitioner in the space. So we have B. Simone, who's literally launched 2 multi-million-dollar podcasts.
Wow.
2 of them have gone straight to #1. And not because she's a big name, because we see celebrities all the time who can't get to #1 with podcasting. This isn't about a celebrity game. You have to have something meaningful to say. You have to be able to put it together well, and people have to like what you're talking about. You have to have your tribe. So B. Simone is going to be talking about how she launches everything that she launches that becomes successful. Tasha K has built an empire around current events and being herself, incredible personality. We got Omar El Takori, who is teaching the basics of what type of camera, what type of lights, how do you achieve a $1 million production look on a shoestring budget. He's the best in the world at doing that. We have Tyshawn and Ryan, who have a podcast called A Hardly Initiated. They're absolutely crushing it. And monetization through this world on YouTube. And they really have built a tribe of people around a relationship space. So they're going to be talking about how they build their YouTube subscribership and their monetization. We have Will Toms and Ryan Wilson from The Gathering Spot and Rec Philly, who have membership communities. So they're going to be teaching how do you build a community. That's super helpful. Donnie Wiggins is going to be teaching how you can use podcasting to build a current business. So not everybody wants to be a podcaster, but you have a business and you need to figure out how to drive more sales and more traffic to the business. Well, a podcast is a perfect marketing arm for whatever else you have going on. And we've got dozens of workshops going on, dozens and dozens of speakers, and I'll be speaking as well. So. Madi Water, one of the best content creators, and he understands driving engagement on Instagram better than anybody I know. So he's going to be teaching that. A group of people who shot a movie and sold a movie and shot another one. They're going to be teaching how you can get into the film industry. So not just podcasts. There's so many different topics we're going to be talking about.
I think it's
dope.
That's awesome. It's so important too to podcasting touches so many other spaces that I love that it's not just like how to start a podcast hosts, like all the very kind of it's not only the kind of the basics or the stuff that is obvious for lack of a better word, but you're really getting people to think that you could be wanting to get into podcasting, like you said, because you want to grow your business. You don't actually want to be a podcaster, but you want to be able to understand what the space is like. I think it's important to pull in a great, varied audience. It sounds like you have a lot of really different kinds of topics, which I think is hugely important.
Also, we just locked this one in. So Gary C, he has he has a podcast agency. And he has multi-million-dollar agreements with companies, and it's his objective to find podcasters to give these deals to. So he's going to be talking specifically from the monetization of how this thing works. How do you connect with different brands? How do you get your podcast sponsored? Where do you get these ads from? So he's an incredible person, and he's making a lot of noise in the space. He has hundreds of podcasters that he pays on a monthly basis through advertisers. It's really the most complete podcasting event that exists today.
And and again, I think the key here, I love what you were saying about even just coming up with a name for your podcast and things. People really don't understand, and we say this, and it almost sounds cliche, but it's so cliche, it's almost equivalent to breathing. You really do just have to start. You have no idea what's going to come out of just starting. Many years ago, there was a lady, Ruth Wakefield, and she was baking, and she was going to make chocolate cookies. And then she didn't have bacon chocolate. She was like, oh, I'm screwed. I mixed all this stuff together. What I'm fitting to do. She chopped up a Nestle's bar and put the little pieces of chocolate in the dough. She cooked them joints, and somebody was like, these are good. What are you going to call them? I don't know, chocolate chip cookies? All right, that's a good name. Ain't nobody up in here listening to this right now ain't drooling over a chocolate chip cookie right now. Mrs. Fields stole it, made it doper, but Ruth Wakefield invented a chocolate chip cookie by accident. And had she just like, oh, I can't do this, or I got to give up, or these ain't finna be no good, or
I'll throw this out,
none of us would be Chip Ahoy and nothing. So like you really like even the popsicle, dude left a soda outside by accident and it froze and he liked it. So he started leaving sodas outside by accident on purpose. And his friends would come around his house. We want one of those frozen sodas. Because back in the day, freezers weren't like the way we have it, So even the popsicle was an accident. And people are still, you just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know how it's going to grow. You have no idea what it's going to turn into. But I tell you what, it won't turn into nothing than some notes. Notes ain't never did a damn thing.
Facts.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm super excited. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great event, and I will say I think what drew me initially was this concept of when I was watching your like promo video for the event, you have these almost like really cool, I've been calling them podcasting pods, which maybe sounds redundant, but they're these like cool like white like orbs. So it just like it looks really cool. So I'll just say like there's such opportunity at events like this, at this specific event where like it's just an opportunity to play and push buttons and ask people. Like everyone when they're at events like this, like they're there to talk with other people. They're there to answer your questions. They're there, like you were just saying, like there is a guy out there who literally is like working with podcasters to help like fund their shows. Like this is like, that guy should be so popular. Every time he walks by, there should be a crowd of people behind him, right?
Like Piper.
This is right, like the Pied Piper. I just think it's such an amazing opportunity. And I just like what like captured me was just this feeling of like the excitement in the room. Everything just looks really cool. Like it was in kid mode where I was like, I just want to push all the buttons and I want to have Ecamm in those booths. I want to be able to like talk to people and like feed off of that kind of energy and excitement. Cause you leave these events and like, hopefully in addition to your copious pages of notes, you leave with just like the right people to ask later. Like if you can take one thing from the event, it's like the one person that you can call later that you can be like, hey, I want to have you on my show. Hey, I want to pick your brain about this. I want to like, that's how we all win is getting to know the people better and learning from them, not even just during the event, but later. Like these are the people in your community. They're people that you call, like people like I call Doc where I'm like, I don't know what happened to my microphone. What the heck? Or like, if something like weird happens, I have a go-to list of people that I can call. So yeah, events like this are super important.
It's really funny how that works out too. Cause yesterday, I know how to do all of this, but yesterday I ran into a brick wall. I'm like, Daniel, Daniel and Louise popped on. It's like, yo, dummy, you got to click this and this. I'm like, shut up, I taught you. But it's super funny. But it happens, and sometimes you just really need those extra people. So these events are good because you get to see what other people are doing and learn from each other and grow. And you mentioned 2 words earlier that are like I live my entire life about, and that's intent and purpose, right? And I think it's very important that you do things with intention. I think it's very important that you find a purpose right away, because purpose is like the grease to everything. Like purpose don't have headache, purpose ain't sick, purpose ain't tired, purpose don't feel like doing it. Like none of that stuff comes up because I have something I need to do. You know what I mean? And it doesn't, all of y'all folks with kids, you know what it is because you've done it before, right? Nothing will stop you from like helping them get something done, right? That's a level of purpose that you have to attach to these things, and people just are starting to figure that out. So I love the fact that you're giving people an opportunity to learn that type of stuff and to just, again, come in and do this. So for anyone who's sitting on the fence and hasn't copped the ticket yet, I don't know what's wrong with you. Tell them what they need to do.
Go to podcastsummit.com. What I'm gonna do is we'll have a code, Ecamm code. So we'll just use Ecamm as the code, ECAMM. You get a special code of this. You'll get a special discount at checkout. So go to podcastsummit.com. Pick which level you want. I recommend VIP or better because you'll get all of the recordings at the end of it. You'll get all the recordings because we have 3 workshops going on at the same time. So you may miss some stuff. You don't want to miss anything. So you'll get all the recordings for absolutely free. And yeah, man, be in the building. Podcastsummit.com, Atlanta, July 4th and 5th. Y'all are off work anyway. So come down to Atlanta. It is going to be an incredible. And I do want, like you said, Doc, come with some intentionality. Don't come just to be in the building. Before you get there, make a little list of questions you need to answer to. And do not leave Podcast Summit without getting those questions answered, okay? You have to go in knowing, I want to launch a podcast and I need to know all of the things it's going to take for me to launch by the time I leave here. And I promise you, it's not as difficult, it's not as complex as you think or if you created in your head that it is, okay? So podcastsummit.com, use code ECAM, and I'll see y'all in Atlanta, July 4th and 5th.
Man, so
I love that it was July 4th and 5th because the second that like right before you were saying that, I was like, you don't have any excuses because we know you're not at work. So like, unless you're in Canada, if
you don't want to be
then maybe,
at the cookout with your family that day anyway. You done seen these folks all the time.
It's hot. You want to be inside, air conditioning.
Exactly. That is so good. I love the timing of it. The timing of it is incredible. And that key takeaway, come with the question in mind. Like I have legit watched people go to sessions and they sit there, they have no question. They don't ask. And we get out in the hallway, we're walking around, and they go, hey, weren't you in the last session? Yeah. Hey, do you know the answer to this question? I was like, your homie asked and you didn't raise your hand. Like he was there. It's not he didn't get to you. Like 5 people asked the question, 5 people got answered. He had time and you didn't ask it. All right, I do know the answer, but still, like, what are you doing? Like, I love it. Come with it, write it down, be prepared to get those things taken out. And that's even for you guys who are listening to this, right? If you ever have questions, you can always send it to us. But if you don't ask, like, you're never going to get the answer. So it's really, really important to put yourself out there and ask that question, right? And I love what you said. We're going to finish this episode and nobody died. Everybody going to walk away.
We're going to finish this episode. We're also going to hold you accountable because like Ecamm is in the house, right? Like on the property. So we're going to be like, hey, where are your questions? We expect for Ecamm people that show up. You better be ready.
And if ain't nobody in the pod, I'm going to just grab people. Like, hey, you come here and sit down. I'm a retired drill sergeant. Y'all done screwed up. I'm going to drag you.
The pods just got really threatening, really quickly. Really threatening.
Push-ups real quick and then jump in the pod and record your little episode and walk out and be excited for the country.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
This is good,
well,
man. This is good.
What is next for you, David, after on the other side of Podcast Summit? Hopefully a break and some relaxation. But after that, what's next?
I wish, man. After Podcast Summit, it's the check for the next couple months to make sure that people are implementing the things that they learn. So I want to just continue to follow up and with the random Zoom calls and just with the attendees, because I want to make sure that it's stuck. And then you come back to Podcast Summit the next year on a higher level with different questions. Yeah. So we're not taking a break. Some people, they adopt the philosophy of 5 and 2, where you work 5 days and you're off 2 days, which there's nothing wrong with that because you need a break. But I will work 5 years and take 2 years off. I just go.
Yeah.
I mean, while we have the time, while we're here, let's go accomplish something. And you can break, take breaks throughout the year. But after this event, I don't know if it's like decomposing. It's like to make sure it's easy to get the event and get the people there. But the hard part is when you start wanting to shepherd people.
Yeah.
And making sure that they're implementing. So that's the goal, man. How can we be more effective? I'm ready to go on tour right after, just to different cities. After y'all came to me, I go to you. So that's our plan.
I'm coming to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
the work.
Dude, Katie's good at herding cats. She got to deal with all of us.
Queen of herding cats. Yeah.
That's super good.
Oh my God.
Man, you said something just then that really, really triggered a thought. And it is, do not let me leave without showing you how to do the new Ecamm for Zoom. Because your job got easier. Your job got way easier. And you're going to be like, oh man, how did this happen? Like, don't worry, it just happens. You ain't missed nothing yet, but it is a game changer. We had a session with my homegirl who's from Atlanta, actually. We had a session with her yesterday, Janice, and she was interviewing her pastor and something wasn't working right. And I was like, oh, girl, you didn't have to do that anymore. You could just do it with Zoom. And she's good, because I don't want to have to teach the pastor how to use Ecamm, right? Like God wasn't ready to do that. And so we jumped on, and then I said, you know what? This is hard to understand with just me and you. Let me throw the bat signal. And then like Luis and Daniel and Andy and Neil, Paul, like all the fellas hopped on real quick. And she was like, it's that easy? And just the look on her face. So I can't wait to show you. You're going to melt. You're going to melt.
I can't wait to
like,
see it.
Dang! It's going to be super good.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, wait, David, one more time, where can people find you? What are your YouTube channel and Instagram and all the great places for them to check you out?
Good. Our YouTube channel, Social Proof Podcast. You can look up Social Proof Podcast. That's also the name of the podcast. Just dropped a new page called The Hot Seat with David Shands. So that's a really cool show that we're doing. And Instagram @sleepis4suckers. But you can really find me in Atlanta, July 4th and 5th at podcastsummit.com.
I love it. We hope to see everyone there. Podcastsummit.com. Ecamm is your code. No excuses. We're coming for you.
Let's go.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're a busy person, so we really appreciate your time.
Cool. No problem. Thank you.
All right, people, you know what it is. You can find everything you need to know about the Flow podcast at flow.ecamm.com. What's really cool is Katie built this site using pod pages, and the feature that I love is you can leave us a voicemail. So you can go there and be like, I got a question. It's too complicated to type. You just hit the button and you can voicemail it in. And we get those, and we get excited when we get voicemail. So please drop us a voicemail. It could be a comment. It could be a question, some feedback, whatever you need to know. Go there and check it out. And this will also allow you to get your podcast wherever your podcast getting is got. And so YouTube, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, the whole 9 yards. So make sure you check out flow.ecamm.com. Now, this and every episode is sponsored by Captivate, and we love Captivate because Captivate is a hosting platform that has growth in mind. The Captivate platform will help you grow your podcast. There's 1,000 places to host a podcast. You can host a podcast in a can of beans at this point. But if you want to know how to grow that podcast, check out captivate.fm. There is a link on the show notes, and just tell them that we sent you, and they're cool. And they like Star Wars. So there's that.
They sure do. Well, from all of us here, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time, because this is, even though we're pre-recording, this is our first episode back after break. So it's like doubly excited. We're here ahead of the game. That's how we roll. So we'll see you in July and beyond.
Flow Riders out.
Bye, everyone.